In early 2025, the Code Violet announcement trailer was unleashed upon the unsuspecting gaming community, and it actually managed to get a little bit of buzz behind it, mostly because it has the stated goal of being the spiritual successor to Capcom's Dino Crisis games. The first trailer managed to fool a few people into getting excited, but there was something off about it. Couldn't quite put my finger on it.
2 hours later.
Until a little research revealed who was actually making it, an outfit you may or may not know called Team Kill Media. These are the same jokers who made Quantum Error, which is a first-person survival horror / firefighter simulator that, I don't know, the idea isn't the worst thing I've ever heard. It could be workable, but man, is it worse than it sounds. The game wasn't just an ugly pile of awkwardly stitched together Unreal Engine assets, and it didn't just play like you were wading knee-deep through molasses. It also had an embarrassingly stupid story presented with the maximum unearned pretense. All that on top of the fact they had the gall to charge $50 for this crap on the PlayStation Store. So no refund for you, thanks for the dinero, suckers. Every other game they've made has sucked a big one, but hey, maybe this time will be different. It's not the first time a developer's turned things around, right? Something we'd like you to turn around is to turn your attention to the subscribe button. Most of you watching right now are not subscribed. We want you to remedy that as a big favor to us. It is doing us a big solid, and we also hope that it helps you see some things you want to see. So thanks a lot for clicking subscribe. Let's get back to the video. I do not go into any game immediately expecting to hate it or with expectations that do not give a game a fair chance. I don't. If you've seen me talk about this game, I have mostly kept it kind of neutral. I have gotten a little bit irked at it once or twice, given that I think that Code Vein, by virtue of having code in the title, has incorrectly caught some strays. But I've generally tried to say, all right, let's see where this goes. Even though internally, we know where it's gonna go. We particularly know if we're making this video, you're watching this video, you know why we're talking about Code Violet in such a capacity, right? You've seen the thumbnail. You already know what the collective opinion here at gameranx is. There's no burying the lead. This is not a joke, possibly going to be the worst game of the year, at least worst well-known game of the year. Certainly notable. When we do top 10 new games each month, it's not necessarily like the guaranteed best games, but it's the games we think that are going to be spoken about. And I remember Code Violet got a whole bunch of, "Why are you covering Code Violet?" comments. Well, unless Game Mill decides to rise from their grave and grace us with another Skull Island Rise of Kong or, you know, something along those lines, I don't see that topping Code Violet for the year. I would be pretty impressed if somebody was able to make a game that's worse than this game. They could put out Lord of the Rings Gollum remastered, now with broken graphics and a 200 gigabyte file size, and it would be a close call. I don't know how Team Kill has got worse at making games since Quantum Error, but they have. Still charging $50 though. It's one of those things that just feels like a scam, even though it's a linear survival horror game that runs for about 7 hours or so. By any standardized metric, it is a video game. But everything about this game is so shoddy and half-assed and desperate and weird and but, and I'm not saying like I have a contradicting point, I mean like ass. They're really, really ass forward on this game. Like, the protagonist is weird looking, has this god-awful selection of lumpy, unappealing costumes, and the gameplay is terrible too, so make fun of Stellar Blade all you want. I know it kicked up a whole bunch of crap, but that's a good game. With Code Violet, it's, is it miserable. Right from the start. After the game's first of many baffling, poorly edited, bafflingly staged cutscenes,
Where am I?
Home.
You wake up from a pod and immediately everything just feels wrong. The room is just a random assortment of assets strewn about haphazardly with dead space, rusted tech-based walls, pristine chandeliers hanging from a giant ceiling print of the Vitruvian Man. Everything's misaligned. You immediately leave the room. The camera turns the opposite direction and oh, Velociraptor, except for it attacks you off screen in the one moment where the game allows you to do a dodge roll. Seriously, in this escape sequence, you can dodge, and after this, I couldn't dodge. Don't know if that is intended or not, but it's how it is. The most basic aspects of survival horror are done wrong here. This game gives you a gun and immediately expects you to use it, but doesn't automatically have it loaded, so most players are going to awkwardly flail around and die with the first enemy. Compare this to the start of Resident Evil 4, it's embarrassing. That game is a masterclass at getting you accustomed to the gameplay before really tough stuff happens without blatantly shoving tutorials in your face. This game is the total opposite in every possible way. Like, the starting area of this game is an absolute mess. Why do they make it so you go for almost an hour before you find a save room, only to give you a second one? And I'm not joking, almost frickin' immediately after. Why is every area just a bunch of hallways, long hallways, connecting to massive, mostly empty rooms? There's naked legs everywhere, there's torsos, they're all physics enabled for some reason.
Evacuation protocol is in.
They plop around, they look ridiculous. What's with the checkpoints? It seemed to work, but sometimes they completely break. At other times, I ran into a situation where I died because at the start of the game, you will die. Probably many times because the combat is very bad. I returned back to a checkpoint with some of the items I got after I saved, including an inventory upgrade, but not the shotgun that I found before the inventory upgrade. There's no consistency with the save system. It just does what it wants. The game does have your standard Resident Evil style save rooms, but if you quit and start again, it drops you pretty much wherever it seems to feel like it drops you. It's such a basic feature of survival horror games, and they don't even get that right. The shooting is, like I said, very bad, which is pretty much how you're always going to be dealing with dinos, because the knife is totally beyond worthless. Why does this game have a zoom in that, like, it's this much? Like, it zooms in this much. Look at this when you're aiming. In a game where the vast majority of the enemies you're facing are getting right up in your face. Why? Every single enemy is awkward as hell when they attack. They just sort of dash directly at you and mash themselves into you to do damage. Like, it's a definite Frank at the dinner table situation. They are mashing it. Sometimes you're unlucky. You just sit there, you keep getting beat on until you fall over and drop your weapon, which might as well just give up and reload, right? Or you get lucky and the enemy's nice enough to hit you and then immediately run away, which does happen, and that gives you a turn to shoot at them. At the start of the game, it's pretty much impossible to avoid at least a little damage from enemies because the starter pistol and the shotgun are too slow to kill the standard raptor before it hits you, and the compies are so hard to see with all the visual noise in the environments that they're gonna get a free hit on you at least once. Like, it cannot be understated just how much of a visual mess this is. It legitimately was giving me a headache after only an hour or so. A big part of it is the frame rate, which is all over the place, but the game is overall just extremely ugly. And I don't just mean environmental design. Yes, it is bad, and out-of-place elements are pretty much constantly on screen, clashing all the time. It looks very amateurish, but then you throw in the shimmering and the muddy textures and the dark design of the areas. Nothing feels distinct. It just feels like this big blur. It's a game that desperately needed some yellow paint because I cannot make anything out in this visual sludge. When a game is getting you to go, oh man, if only they did the yellow paint stereotype, something's wrong. And again, nothing against the yellow paint thing. Like, there's plenty of times where that's been used fine, but it is also something that has been maligned many, many times for overuse, and any use of it here would have been better. Here's just a few examples of the terrible environmental design. Like this part where the water just stops moving. Hey, look at that. Or this spot where two broken parts of a bridge that cannot possibly in any version of reality connect together. Yeah, oh, good. The game wants you to go, wow, with this big reveal of the outside world the first time you step outside, but wow is not the word. The outdoors are even more of an incongruent mess than inside, with random rocks floating in the sky, copy-pasted haphazardly, completely out of place modern-day windmills, placed with zero regard for the art or the visual language. Sometimes the slapdash nature of this can be funny, like the bathroom stall filled to the brim with body parts. That's funny. It's like stepping in a survival horror ball pit. I don't know how on purpose I think that was, though. Like, yeah, that stuff's all there, but was it intended to make me laugh? Probably not. Everything about the way this game has been designed is wrong. It feels wrong. It is wrong. There's a title drop more than an hour in that feels completely out of nowhere. Like, literally, it's a, oh, he set the title moment. The game starts out by quoting Leonardo da Vinci for some reason. There's artful black and white in the cutscenes sometimes. The developers must have thought they were cooking here, but I think it's a real toddler chef situation going. Everything about the start of the game is just beyond frustrating. The starting guns are weak, enemies are bullet sponges that keep appearing out of nowhere, resources are low. Survival horror games tend to have an element of inventory management, and this game technically does that, which is, of course, the best kind of doing that, technically. But instead of keeping it relatively straightforward, they decided to come up with this convoluted crafting system where you have to combine items to create pretty much everything from healing items to ammo to a whole lot of completely worthless crap like flashbangs and smoke grenades. Healing is made so much more complicated than it needs to be by introducing annoying stuff like poison and bleeding, which happen constantly, by the way. And in the case of the bleeding, is very annoying. It doesn't just like siphon your HP, it also lowers your max HP, which you have to use another kind of healing item called a blood bag to restore your max health, which is so much more granular than a game like this needs to be. And it just makes your inventory constantly cluttered with 4 different forms of healing at all times. It's just dumb. You're constantly using this stuff too, because like I said above, everything hits you at first. Yes, the game technically has a stealth system for avoiding enemies, but it's poorly explained and ultimately worthless because most of the time it's easier to run past the enemies rather than engage them. This only gets easier when you get the ability to turn invisible, which costs another type of resource to do, of course, but it makes it so you can actually kill something once in a while without it hitting you first. Later in the game, killing stuff gets easier as the item economy starts getting more skewed in your favor. The game is constantly dumping tons of stuff on you at all times to compensate for how incredibly unfair it is. And eventually you get some useful guns like the submachine gun, the assault rifle. You eventually have a chance at killing something before it hits you. The later parts of the game also introduce more enemies that are easier to deal with, which, hey, that's how games are supposed to work, right? So one of those is like the poison-spitting dinosaurs from Jurassic Park. The poison sucks. It does what poison does in the game. But also, you can actually avoid their attacks, which is difficult to do with other enemies. The bosses, oh, they're uniformly terrible. Somehow they're also the easiest enemies in the game. There's only really 2 bosses, unless you count the last boss, which, spoilers, if you care at all, the exact same boss as the first boss is also the last boss, without any changes. Like, the absolute joke. Walk backwards, it'll never hit you. You'd think a T-Rex would be a threat, but hey, it's not. It's actually passive as hell and does a dainty little bite like a well-trained dog trying to eat a treat. The little front teeth. Hamster eating a carrot. But to add further insult to injury, the post-boss cutscene is laughable. Violet punches the T-Rex, and somehow it is supposed to be emotional. Punching a T-Rex is supposed to be emotional. And like, on some level, I guess that's very funny. But it doesn't feel very funny when you get to that point. I think if you just watched it on YouTube, it'd probably be really funny. But after 7 hours, it's not funny. That's pretty much how every story cutscene goes with this thing. It's barely worth trying to describe the plot because it's gibberish. The voice actors are trying, but there's not really any saving this nonsense script that somehow manages to involve cloning space colonies and time travel. At one point, the phrase Kingdom of Lorne DNA is spoken, and I don't know what that means or care.
The queen of the lost world of Lorne.
I mean, I guess I kind of know. It's a callback to one of their other games that's called Kingdom of Lorne. I guess there's a Team Kill shared universe. The cutscenes, man. They're so drawn out, terrible, awkward, with long, lingering gaps between dialogue where people just gormlessly shuffle around. There's one cutscene in the middle of the game that's like 6 minutes long, and you cannot skip them. Like most survival horror games, the rest of the story is told through notes, but the text is so tiny you can barely read it. The text boxes are big, and the text is little and tiny. It's so wrong. It's a waste. It's not that I really wanted to read it, but like, it's not readable. Another thing, so the game throws a ton of really dumb costumes at you. This kind of thing is normally saved for New Game Plus and these lady with big body parts games, but here they just immediately go all in on dress up, and it looks so bad. Like, the costumes feel really out of place. Most of them are really unappealing, and that would at least be funny if the game displayed any of this stuff in cutscenes, but it doesn't. They're all in-game. There's nothing stopping them from making it so your absolutely dog shit appearance shows in the cutscene. There's nothing stopping it. But you're always in the default costume, because I guess that would have required some form of, I don't know. Clearly, it was less effort to do it that way. And it's really weird that you switch back the default costume for these weird cutscenes that appear out of nowhere. Like this raptor attack in a hallway. It instantly switches from gameplay to cutscene, and like, it's suddenly invulnerable to bullet. It happens like halfway through the game. You've killed a ton of them at this point, but this one just tanks everything. The game's really full of inexplicable moments like this one part. This came out of nowhere as well. Violet decides to cut out a dead guy's eye unprompted. It's not like you've actually seen that you need the eye for the scanner. I guess she's just operating on pure instinct, and instinct says you're gonna need eyeballs for scanners. There's another goofy part where the game tries to copy the Tomb Raider reboot, where you're sliding down a waterfall, only it's done in the worst, lamest possible way. If you die in this part, you get sent back and have to rewatch the cutscene leading up to it all over again. And you don't even get a satisfying death animation, it just cuts to black. Got a terrible photo mode, which you wouldn't think is even possible, but for some reason it defaults to black and white, has these giant black bars over everything, and super FOV. You'd think a photo mode like this would focus on posing Violet, giving her different expressions and crap like that, because looking at the model is why people use these photo modes, right? Well, not this photo. You're not using this photo mode for that, okay? You can hide Violet if you want, which I'm sure is a really exciting prospect for basically exactly who they assume will want to play this game. How do you screw up something this basic? Like you're catering to horny people. It's so hard, no pun intended, to screw that up. Doesn't even have a satisfying conclusion, because of course, why would it? This game really starts cutting corners by the end, quickly doling out exposition in notes that are just next to doors. They teleport you all around locations just so they can get to the damn end. The final enemy gauntlet on a train is just terrible. The train looks like it's out of the 1920s for some reason. It's 3 trains running right next to each other too, all at the same time. This is the grand finale of the game, which, other than the final boss, which like I said is a repeat of the first one, I don't know, it's overlaid with the most overdramatic, ridiculous, terrible music possible. The sort of music you'd hear in cartoons where they want to be over the top on purpose, and you can kill this boss in seconds if you want. After all that, they have the gall to say Violet's story has just begun over the credits, which is more of a threat than anything else. The game's terrible. It's clunky, it's ugly, it's unsatisfying, it's frustrating, it swings wildly between annoyingly difficult and bizarrely easy at random. It's not particularly buggy somehow, at least I don't think it is, but it's so rickety it's kind of hard to tell the difference between a bug and how the game is supposed to work. And in no universe is this worth $50. Maybe if it were $10, we'd be able to laugh about it and move on, but for that price, you are expecting a premium experience, and this is anything but a premium experience. It's kind of impressive that Team Kill Media are able to keep cranking out this garbage at the rate they do, considering it's like 4 guys. But then again, Team Cherry is only like 3 or 4 guys, and they're able to do much better things at far lower price points. It's a game I'm glad I played because there are some laughs to be had at the crapiness. It wasn't like the most miserable thing ever, but it's pretty miserable. And you're getting all the highlights here, and it's clearly not much. I don't need to say if I recommend this game or not. I don't. Just to be clear, is it the worst thing ever? I guess kind of no. It's not like offensive to my sensibilities or anything. I don't get pissed off just looking at it, but I will say it's not fun to play. And then if you play the whole thing, it kind of is offensive to my sensibilities. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a worse game on the PlayStation Store that isn't pure shovelware. It's a real game, I guess, but I think that makes it worse. If this were like Jump a Hamburger style nonsense made for trophy hunting, I think I'd probably like it more. So I guess these guys thought this was their magnum opus in some way, but it's pure schlock, and that's Code Violet. But, and again, I'm not about to say a point that contradicts what I just said. I'm literally just calling attention to the point that most of the game is purely built around but. I'd say avoid this dinosaur at all costs. What do you think, though? Leave us a comment. Let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. Go down, click the join button. For $5 a month, you get into the 1% Club, which gets you the Falcon Show, our weekly podcast. It's a blast. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.